This is me, Spookies.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, as the title suggests, I'm going back to the same tired topic. You know, the one that involves using utensils like these. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to talk about weed again. Now, why is that? Why am I bringing this back? Well, you know, the last video that I did was a collaboration video with my friend Jordan. Now, that video was, edited to be this big thing, and it turned into everything that, I originally didn't have planned. It was a discussion video, and, I'm going to repeat a lot of the same stuff in here, but, I took this time to kind of elaborate on my points and kind of talk about why and why not the Canadian government may think to do stuff like this. So, let's go on. Now, originally I planned to do this video based off of a Facebook note that I had wrote in about mid-October. I actually have it on the screen for reference material, ladies and gentlemen. As I've been saying, the question that Ontario has been asking itself since April 11th is to legalize or not to legalize marijuana. That is the simple question that they've been asking themselves. So we go to July, which is the original expiration date. The government says no to anything. They don't really make a decision, but, they say no for, that to be passed. They're going to make up some sort of decision come November. Come November, 4 fucking months later, they still don't come up with anything and need an extra 4 fucking months. Yes, that means until March, this is what the government is going to be doing to try and think of something. The original ruling, is what I'm being told, was that July was the only date. July, I believe, 11th of 2011 would have been the only date where the federal court would have said, okay, that's it. It's going to be legalized. If the government didn't say anything before then. But since they did, they were supposed to make a decision in November, and that didn't happen. So apparently on March 5th and 6th is when some sort of final decision regarding this whole issue is going to take place. So I'm going to go on right now and talk about why there are so many benefits to do this. For one thing, wouldn't you really want to get rid of black market crime? In terms of marijuana, I'm just saying, you can't get rid of cocaine or heroin or that kind of stuff, but that doesn't really seem to be popular around these type of places anyway if you live in my county. People smoke pot, they deal pot. There are so many drug dealers around here that it's unbelievable. So one would think that, in some sort of legalization and regulation would get rid of a lot of drug dealers, don't you think? The removal of drug dealers' business means they're not selling drugs to your kids anymore. Isn't that mind-boggling? So, do they want drug dealers around? Is that really what they want? Do they just want, police to arrest people for doing something? I don't get the point here. Is it just fun to do? Let's play cops and robbers with pot smokers, and let's keep drug dealers on the street because they give our cops something to do. As I alluded to in my last video, apparently those who harm themselves are more of a priority than others who harm others, pretty well. So in other essence, if you will, somebody shooting heroin or snorting cocaine or smoking pot is more of the police's, target than somebody who's maybe raping and murdering people down the street. Mainly because drugs are involved and they're super bad. Yes, which is fucking unbelievable. I can't believe it, but it's true. Drugs are worse than rapists and murderers. They're more of a priority to the police. So, I kind of don't understand that whole logic. Like, those who harm themselves are worse than, people harm, those who harm others. Like, I'm pretty sure, stuff that I'm doing to myself isn't, as bad as me killing or raping somebody. That's inflicting harm onto somebody else. If I'm, taking a drug, I'm only harming me. So why should I be penalized for that? At least, the rapists and the murderers, they kill and rape people and cause rape babies and stuff. but apparently somebody doing drugs is worse than that. It's really ridiculous too, because if you think about it, there could be a couple job opportunities from such a decision. I mean, this could be a province-changing decision for Ontario. I mean, if they say yes, and maybe, in this time they've taken to kind of go maybe over to other provinces and kind of meet, maybe bring it up to Parliament or something like that. Maybe, some kind of decision could be made, for legalization. Because, if they decide to legalize it and cultivate it, that would mean you'd need to have farms for the crop. You would need some sort of factories for packaging after the product's been grown, and this, that, and the other. Maybe paper, to make, cannabis cigarettes, or whatever they plan to do. Or maybe just, pack in little, plastic bags or something like that. Just say, here you go. That kind of stuff creates jobs. And, I'm not saying it'll get the economy up and going all over again. But, even a little bit of jobs is better than none. Unless apparently they don't want to create jobs and they want this recession to continue. Now, I'm not saying marijuana or pot's going to get the world out of the recession. I'm just saying, creating a little more jobs in maybe one field is better than, not creating any at all and keeping people out of work. Because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of unemployed people who would love nothing more than to work with cannabis all day, every day. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Also, I don't understand why people are so close-minded on this. It's like they have it in their heads that, weed is just a gateway drug. That's the whole argument I hear behind is, if you smoke one thing of marijuana, you're going to be doing crack next. Every pothead I've ever known only likes their pot. And this is coming from just an occasional toker, alright? So, major potheads only have one addiction if they're a major pothead, and that's pot. They're not going to go snorting cocaine or shooting heroin or becoming alcoholics or whatever. They're not going to be shooting ecstasy or whatever else they're going to be taking, dropping acid, taking LSD. This is all completely misconcepted. People who want to take that stuff make a conscious effort to take it, and most of them take that stuff before they try pot. Or, pot wasn't good enough for them, so they need a better escape. They tried it first because, this stuff is less harmful, but, if it's not what I want, then I'm going to go harder. It's not that, this one kid innocently tried marijuana. He's like, well, if I can do that, I can do anything. Give me that cocaine. It's this misconception that people have, and, everybody in my household here has it, and, a lot of people in Canada have it, and apparently all over the world have it. It's this irrational fear to a plant that's ridiculous. I'm pretty sure there are plants that are way more harmless that grow here, and that if people were to ever try that, they'd probably kill themselves taking one hit by smoking that plant. Jordan alluded to that in the previous video. There, you could take any plant, smoke, and it'd probably kill you, but you could call it a drug. But this one is it's one plant that, it works as a good relaxant. And here's my next point. If it works as a good relaxant, it works, and pretty much it's the way it dulls everything. It's a cool sensation. I can't really explain it, but those who know what I'm talking about know. I once had a horrible, kind of back pain that kind of went down to my lower back, and, my legs were a little stiff from, some jogging the other day or something like that. And then I had my nice session, and all the pain for my high made it all go away. I've had people allude that, they've had serious back problems where they have disc issues, or, maybe they tore a muscle or have surgically repaired and then they are going through their recovery. They've said that marijuana works better than your average painkiller for making you feel calm and painless. That must be a kick in the nuts to any Advil or Tylenol company. These people, these pharmaceutical companies, are probably the ones putting the ban hammer on ever legalizing marijuana. Why would they want to compete with something that's going to totally topple their market? Especially with the taxation. Taxation that will go to the government. You'd think the feds would be all over this, because if they really think about it, which I'm hoping they've taken these extra 8 months to do, they could really figure out that, wow, we could make like a shitload of money from this. Tax it, tax it, tax it, tax it. We need to put the sin tax on this just like we did tobacco and alcohol. Let's make some money off this. But is it just taboo for them to do this? It's like, well, it's never been legal before, so, why should we legal it now? That's the point I'm getting from this. These are greedy, money-hungry people that are in power. Anybody in power is money and power hungry. If you can make millions upon billions and, all that sort of money and dollars, you'd think you'd be doing that. And if this was a way to do it, the government should be jumping all over that. But for some reason, they just don't. Are they supposed to keep up this nice fancy image that everybody holds them in high regard and doesn't think they're crooks? Because any old person I've ever talked to, or even, people who are smart, that are, in our generation, know that these people are really greedy, power-hungry, and money-grubbing people. So, it's not like they have a great guy image to protect anyway by not legalizing one harmless little drug. It's just completely ridiculous. And the people buy into this propaganda. They believe these lying people. And they, for whatever reason, have it in their heads that marijuana is as dangerous as heroin or cocaine. And it is completely and utterly ridiculous. Especially when tobacco and alcohol are, they're legal substances and they do more harm to you. And I love all three, but even I have to admit that the fact that we have more dangerous drugs legal to the human body than something that people have been fearing for ages that does nothing to you at all makes absolutely no sense. So in other terms, all I wanted to do was talk about pot this evening. Yes, I did. For no other reason rather than just get my thoughts out and kind of push it towards March. Because apparently that's when some sort of decision's going to be made. And it's less than a month. It's like a few weeks away. So, yeah, what else am I supposed to say? The government will either legalize it or maybe they'll think of something for the court. But in terms of a complete legalization, we passed that 9 months ago in July. They said no, we need more time to think of a better plan than just legalizing it. They stepped in. And if they wouldn't have stepped in and pushed it to November, it would have been legal already, according to the court in Ontario. But this isn't just a video for these feds working in Ontario. These aren't just for the government of Canada in total. This isn't just for North America. It's a worldwide message. Why ban something and completely look down upon it and brainwash countless individuals into believing nothing but utter bullshit? When it can make you money, perhaps pump something into this receding economy, and maybe create a few jobs. Doing something is better than nothing, and improving and making changes that push, the world in the right direction means more than just staying close-minded and keeping the mentalities of 1950s housewives. That's all I have to say on this issue. All I felt like doing was talking about this more. Whatever. This video is probably way too long already. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Peace. I'm done.